Hey, what's happening, guys? This is Gabe Villamizar, social media marketing manager at HireVue. First of all, thank you so much for joining us for the first ever Talent Insights event. We're really excited that you are able to join us, whether it's live right now or on demand later. And this is the first ever of its kind. I remember thinking about this with the marketing team of what we're going to be doing around this time of the year earlier on, and we wanted to do something that was unique, something that has never done before. Why don't we just organize and grab the top recruiting and talent thought leaders and make a massive online event that's free and that has a lot of good quality content. So hopefully you guys have been enjoying the sessions that you've already heard, and stay till the end. If not, catch the sessions later on demand. Anyway, enough said about that. Like I said, we're going to talk about how to find and nurture top talent on LinkedIn and Twitter. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or whatever, find me on Twitter at Gabe V. Mizar. Okay. So before I move on, LinkedIn and Twitter, these are by far the largest professional networks, specifically LinkedIn, the largest professional social media network. And I mean, if you're not finding talent there and you're not nurturing talent, then I don't know where you've been hiding. But Twitter, every time I bring up Twitter, a lot of people are scared to dive into Twitter. They don't know how to tweet. They don't know how to find talent. They don't know. But there's a lot of low hanging fruit. A lot of candidates that, especially millennials, that live on Twitter, either to complain about something, to talk to their friends about their day, or to consume media, consume content, etc. I mean, so let's dive a little bit more into LinkedIn and Twitter specifically of how you can find talent. A little bit about me. Again, I'm Gabe Villamizar. To the left, the guy with the hat. Wherever I go, I wear a hat because if I take off my hat, people don't recognize me. So if you see me at a conference, say, "Hey, what's up, Gabe? I know I saw your webinar or seminar, or whatever this is called." And then to the right is our CMO, Kevin Marasco. He's a stud. And right there, that's the HireVue logo right behind us. And like I mentioned earlier, my Twitter handle is at Gabe Villamizar. And please follow the conversation and continue the conversation with the hashtag Talent Insights. There's going to be a lot of people, actually, it's already been a lot of people who are tweeting and adding a lot of good content to that. Okay, so some of my background, been doing social media marketing for the past 5 years. And I've done an internship with Southwest Airlines in marketing. I do consulting. And some of the companies you see here, I've either consulted or worked full time. And as you now know, I'm now with HireVue. So there's Qualtrics. I consulted them, helped them out a little bit. InsideSales.com. That's prior to joining HireVue. I was there for close to 2 years. I've worked with Canvas by Instructure, and I worked at Nu Skin as well, their bilingual department. So let's jump to it. Like I said, social recruiting nurturing process. So if you can take a screenshot of this, or if you're taking notes, this is the process that I've developed of how you can do social sourcing. What's the best way to find top talent and how to engage with them in a non-creepy way? Because with the internet and the social media network, you can pretty much find and get a hold of anybody, literally. And it's kind of scary, but that's just the world we live in. There's no such thing as privacy sometimes. I mean, by default, a lot of these social media sites have all your information public unless you know how to change it to private. So over the past 5 years, right, in the social selling space, in the social recruiting, I've developed a few best practices and methodologies that I've gained a lot of success and a lot of this stuff has worked. That's what I guess what I'm trying to say. So, I, number one, let's optimize, right? So, before reaching out to talent, before you and find candidates that you want to attract or engage with, you have to optimize. So, we're gonna go over how to optimize your LinkedIn and Twitter profile. Then we're gonna dive into research. How do you find what the candidate's all about? What brands do they like? Where do they like to hang out? I mean, if you follow all these social breadcrumbs or all these social behaviors, you can make a more educated conversation. You can be on the same page with the candidate, and you can talk the same language, if you want to call it that. So do your research before you reach out to them, okay? And then you engage. Okay, it's by optimizing your profile and researching uh, the candidate. When you engage, you're not a stalker. You're not a creeper, and you're not cold calling or cold emailing. I mean, the easiest way out, and what a lot of recruiters do this, and I get this almost on a weekly basis. A recruiter sends me an email. Okay, somebody who I've never heard of, somebody who I don't even know where they are, which company it is, and they want me to check out their available job openings. They want me to apply for XYZ job or social media marketing job, and I don't even know who they are. And I mean, they're just wasting their time. They're wasting their emails, and so there's better ways to do this. So if you by optimizing your profile, researching, and engaging the right way, which I'll show you that, you have a lot higher chance of committing the candidate and getting their interest to apply. And you actually develop a relationship at the end, whether they apply right away, whether they're an active or passive candidate. Develop the relationship because sooner or later that person or that individual or candidate is gonna he or she may know someone who might be a good fit for that position, and they might give you a referral if you develop the relationship, or they might leave their company throughout a few months or years, etc. So optimization, uh, doing your research, engaging at the right time at the right place, and then you ask them to commit. You see how the action part is at the very end. A lot of people go for the close, if you want to call it that, or go for the commit as a step one. So we're kind of reversing the whole process, and I've seen over the past, like I said, 4 to 5 years, a lot of success by doing this because it's just the way things are going nowadays. With so much data and information, you can be authentic and you can stand out by doing this process that not a lot of people are doing it the right way. Okay. So let's get to it. So the rest of my presentation, I'll be kind of hopping in and out between um, the Twitter profile here and LinkedIn profile. So let's talk about optimization. Okay, that's step number one. So what can you optimize, right? So number one, what you can do is, as you can see here, I've edited my background on LinkedIn. Make sure that has something. If you're a recruiter uh, or a VP of HR or some sort of recruiting manager, make sure that your background image on LinkedIn displays your company culture, who you are, and what your company stands for, its values. So at HireVue, our tagline or what we believe in is that everybody has a story to tell. Okay, so if everybody has a story to tell, come check out hirevue.com and learn more. And there's a call to action. And what's cool about this is that we've made it so that everybody in our company, we highly recommend, if they haven't done it, they should, that they have the same background. So we have the same consistency of branding and messaging all throughout our social media networks as a company and as a team. Okay. So step number one, edit your background. Step number two, make sure that your name is exactly what you go by. So my full name's Gabriel Villamizar, and I don't go by Gabriel because that sounds like a female name. So I go by Gabe Villamizar. So make sure that if your name is Robert, but you go by Bob, make sure that you have Bob on every single profile. Because when you talk to candidates and you tell them over the phone or email, hey, this is Bob, and they go try to connect with you on LinkedIn, then and your name's Robert, and you told them Robert, but you're online by Bob or vice versa, they won't be able to find you. Okay, so make sure your name is. I highly recommend that you put the name that you go by on your actual name, and you have that name consistently throughout all profiles. The next thing that will be I recommend to optimize is your title. So I know my title is very long, but what I'm trying to go for here is I want to go and add keywords that are going to stand out to my targeted audience. So since I'm very involved in social selling and social marketing, I want to rank for these keywords both on Google and on LinkedIn. And whenever anybody comes to my profile, that's the message that I want to portray, that I'm into social selling, that I like social media marketing, okay? That I'm into social audience. So not I'm only kind of portraying that to people that come to my profile, but I'm also ranking for these words on the SERP or search engine results page, okay? Whether it's Bing or Google, etc. So find a set of combination of words that will make you stand out, and that not, I mean, the least you could do is just put your title. So if I really didn't want to put any effort into this, I would go and put it as a social media marketing manager at HireVue. But again, everybody and all of the majority of LinkedIn's users just do that. So if you want to stand out, if you want to attract talent, make sure your title is catchy, it stands out, and it really kind of portrays the company's values and message. Next, make sure that you have updated the city or where your company is, and you have the right industry. So as you can see here, there's a lot of industries, and as you change jobs, a lot of people forget to change these industries. So make sure your industry of where you're working at is up to date. Okay, and yep. So moving on, next thing to optimize is your LinkedIn URL. By default, LinkedIn gives you a bunch of weird characters and numbers and dashes, etc., as your LinkedIn URL. So what you have to do, right, is click on the little gear button, and as you can see here, it lets you edit. And I highly recommend you stick to your first name and last name that you're trying to rank for. A lot of people may go by, I don't know, Blue Teddy Bear 22 or something like that, and that maybe that's because they grew up being called that or whatever. Make sure, again, this is very, very important for ranking, and you're going to get more, you're going to get found a lot easier by the internet and by candidates if you put your first and last name. If that's taken, reverse it and put last name, first name. If that's also taken, try to insert your middle initial in between your first and last name. If you're a Mike Jones, good luck. That's probably going to be taken, but maybe try to add the company that you work with at the time. Okay, so that is that for your LinkedIn profile URL. Okay, and then moving on, right? So I highly recommend that you post and use the LinkedIn publishing platform. Make sure that you are engaging and creating unique content. This could be a blog post about your company's culture or the values of your company or the perks or why you should work at HireVue, why you should work at Nike, etc. Make sure you utilize the publishing platform, because whenever you do a blog post, in the publishing platform of LinkedIn, it notifies every single one of your connections, and that has a lot of value. So make sure you do that. Add your summary. Your summary, I like to highly recommend that you write it in third person, because what happens is Google doesn't know who I or me is. Whereas if I say Gabe Villamizar has 5 years of related work experience, I'm trying to rank and I'm communicating to Google that I am Gabe Villamizar. Okay, so the more I connect the dots between my social media profiles and have the same verbiage, the higher I'm going to rank for those specific keywords. A lot of people say, well, Gabe, that sounds ridiculous, and why are you talking of yourself in third person? Well, it's all about your strategy and your end goal. Are you trying to rank higher on Google, LinkedIn, and other networks by being the Gabe Villamizar or the person who you are? If that's the case, which I can't see why you wouldn't want to rank for a certain set of keywords, make sure you have that consistency. So I have Gabe Villamizar at the very top. I have Gabe Villamizar here in my summary and things like that. So make sure you carefully craft all of this. And then add these rich media types, if that maybe they have to do stuff with your company or your blog or a cool video, stuff that's going to attract the candidate. Okay. Again, skills and endorsements, this is very huge. I mean, my goal is that when people come to my profile, that the people know, wow, Gabe's very legit at all these skills. So the same, you want the talent that you attract and the candidates to come here and really look up to you as a thought leader or as a recruiter, so that he or she may want to talk to you and start a conversation and develop that conversation. Now, something that I recommend, if you have a lot of endorsements and people have endorsed you, move this to the top or towards the top. I think by default this goes all the way to the bottom, but you can click on this and drag it back and forth. And again, add rich media types to each position. It makes it not boring. Okay, so you don't want this to be a resume, so the candidates get super bored about just scrolling this. I mean, they're probably not going to read everything, but they're going to scroll, and the more videos and images and things like that they see, it's going to be very pleasing to the eye, and it's going to get their attention. Okay, so in a nutshell, I know I'm cruising through all of this. That's a very brief overview of how you optimize your LinkedIn profile. Okay, so now let's go ahead and talk about how you optimize your Twitter profile. So my good friend here, Ben Martinez, VP of HR here at HireVue, is a very good example of how to optimize your Twitter profile. So as you can see here, again, we're talking about, he's talking about himself in third person because again, the Google crawler crawls from left to right, and it's gonna want, once it comes and scans Ben Martinez Twitter profile, it's gonna read Ben Martinez. So he's communicating to Google that he is the Ben Martinez. The closer the keyword is to the top left of the paragraph, the higher it's gonna rank if you have relevant content. There's a lot of triggers, but this is one of them. So again, he's trying to rank for Ben Martinez. I mean, there's a lot of Ben Martinez, but he has a higher chance of doing so. And then make sure you put your title, VP of HR, and then tag the company you work for. Very, very important. A lot of good social SEO. And describe yourself in a few words. So he's a writer, blogger, speaker, and who's curious about social selling, recruiting, View Nation, and social selling and podcaster. So I recommend doing 2 to 3 hashtags in your bio, and again, tagging the company you work with or an organization you associate yourself with. But by adding hashtags, you're more likely to be found by other people, and it shows that you know what you're talking about. So that's how you optimize your bio on Twitter. Make sure you put where you reside or your location and your company. This is huge, huge, huge. You can either put your company page here, or you can put your LinkedIn profile, or in this instance, which is perfect, is also Ben put his personal website, which is benmartinez.co. Okay. The next thing to optimize is make sure you add a cool background image. Again, it shows personality, it shows that you're real, that you're not a robot, and it goes very, very far. And then I couldn't emphasize more that have a good headshot. Even going back to LinkedIn here, make sure that people will recognize you, and it's an up-to-date headshot. I mean, there's nothing worse than you're walking somewhere and then you start talking and that person happens to be someone who you saw yesterday, but they look nobody like that person on their Twitter or LinkedIn profile because their picture is outdated, or it's weird, or it's blurry, or it's cropped weird, or it's expanded weird. So make sure you take a professional headshot, and that goes very far and speaks for itself. So moving on. So again, that's how you optimize your LinkedIn profile, and that's how you optimize your Twitter profile. So once you do that, we go into a research stage. So once you've identified a few people who you like to do some research before engaging with them. Let's start here on Twitter since we're already here. So let's say I'm looking at John Grodegut, and John Grodegut is a potential candidate. I'm sure you guys have strategies already of how to find these people or identify these people, either through LinkedIn, if you're using LinkedIn Recruiter, or if you, let's say you want to find passive candidates on 5 software companies that are close to you. So identify who those are. I'm not going to go too much into that because I want to show you a few other tactics here on LinkedIn and Twitter, and a few other free plugins that make it very easy to find information about people. But if you're not familiar with how to do this and how to find people, go to the LinkedIn Advanced Search and play around with this. And that way you can find a lot of people and passive or active candidates who would be a good fit for the job that you're trying to fill. But let's go back into how to find people on how to research people on Twitter. So let's say I found out who they are on LinkedIn, and I found them also on Twitter. So what's going to happen here is there's 3 plugins that I recommend. One of them is 360 Social plugin. So this is it's a Google Chrome plugin, and it's awesome because it kind of helps you see a 360-degree view of that person's social identity, and it links it with anything that's related to that person. So let me show you what that looks like. So once you install this free Chrome plugin, what's going to happen is you're going to have this little pop-up here to the right. And when you click on it, let me go here one more time. Once you install it, again, the little MSN, wannabe MSN Messenger guy comes up here to the right. So I'm clicking on John Grodegut. Okay. So this is the information it gives me, and this is awesome. Okay. So it tells me where John is in Salt Lake City. It gives me his email. Okay, check that out. It gives me his mobile. So somehow it searched through databases and it was able to append and have a correlation that John Grodegut's email is this one. John Grodegut's mobile is this one. And then it tells me how many LinkedIn connections he has, right? It kind of gives you like this cool view of everything that you need to know about John. It tells me his Twitter followers, which I can already see that over here. It tells me his clout score, which is huge. That tells me that John is active on social media and what he talks about. So if I really want to engage with John, I might want to talk about business or conservative politics, engineering, internet, marketing, job interviews, etc. It shows me that he has, I can find out more about him at aboutme.com. Here's his Google Plus profile. Here's his YouTube channel, PhotoSugar, Goodreads, HireVue.com, and ViewNation. So look at all this information that I could educate myself with before I reach out and tweet to John or before I send him a LinkedIn message. So this is doing your research, right? Now, if you don't like this one, or another option that you could do, right, is one called Connectifier. Okay, this is Connectifier. Let me see if I can find that. And it's a similar concept, right? It gives me kind of a snapshot of everything about John Grodegut, his email, his different actual emails that he's had in the past or he currently has, his phone number, his LinkedIn, his Twitter, his About Me page, Google Plus, and any website that he's been featured on lately. So maybe I could reach out to John and say, hey, John, notice that you were featured here or that you did a blog post here. That's doing your research. So, okay, here it is, Connectifier. This is how you spell it. Connect and then IFIER. If you Google that, again, it's a Google Chrome extension. It's great, okay? And you can also, these plugins also work on LinkedIn as well. So if let's say go back to my profile and I'm at somebody's profile, you're gonna see the little pop-ups here, and it shows. See, this one's analyzing myself right here, and so yeah. So these Chrome extensions work both for Twitter and LinkedIn. And the third Chrome extension, just in case, which is one of the coolest ones ever, it's called Rifle, CrowdShare by Rifle. And what's awesome about this one, it studies a user's Twitter behavior. So this tells me that Ben Martinez has a clout score 56 here, and it somehow found out all of his social profiles. It tells me how many tweets per day or retweets he does per day, how many favorites he does, what hashtag is Ben tweeting the most, and what mentions or who is he talking to the most, and then what URLs he uses the most or he's interested in, and how many tweets per day, 6 tweets a day. So Ben's pretty active on Twitter, so maybe it's a good opportunity for me to reach out to Ben via Twitter to get his attention instead of the traditional email or phone call. And he uses Buffer or Twitter for iPhone and TweetDeck to tweet. So this extension is very good for Twitter only, but it gives you a very comprehensive snapshot and detailed analysis of any user's social behaviors and their activity. Okay, so that's some. I know I'm going really fast, but that's some of the things that you could do about research. So the next step is engaging, right? So once you've engaged with the right person and you found the person you want to engage, and the way you engage, right? Let me go back to my slides here. Let me launch this real quick. Okay, so before you engage, you want to have a social content strategy. You want to be posting not just your job openings and things like that, but whether it's on Twitter and LinkedIn. For example, I'd recommend a 3-1-1 posting strategy or the 4-1-1. So, for example, your first tweet or your first LinkedIn post, make sure it's about somebody else. So a third-party content for HireVue, we like to tweet or do a post about our partners, either Greenhouse or Cornerstone or Workday. And what do we talk about? We talk about their industry news, or we share blogs or websites. Okay, so that's going to be my first post or piece of content that I share, right? Whether on LinkedIn and Twitter in a given day. The second one's also going to be a third-party content. Again, the third one is also going to be that. Now, the fourth one, it's going to be a job opening that I'm trying to fill. Maybe I'll talk about my company, the culture blog or bio, okay? Research case study about our company or about what we do at HireVue, and maybe even share gated content to capture candidates, etc. And the next one is going to be personal content. So a selfie, take a picture of your friends and family or people at the office, and make it very personal so candidates can relate to you. So if you have a content strategy such as this one, when you reach out to and engage with a candidate, they're going to see that you're not just posting and talking about yourself 24/7, because there's nothing worse than when somebody reaches out to you who you probably don't know, and you go back to their Twitter profile or you go back to their LinkedIn profile, and all they're doing is just posting me stuff. Okay, so that's a huge turnoff. Make sure that you have content that you're educating and that you're actually are seen as you come across as a thought leader, or just have educational content to attract talent, and so they can see, wow, this person really does their homework, they know what they're talking about. Okay, and so what type of content might you share to engage with a candidate? Images are great, infographics, quotes, motivational memes, etc. Videos are even better because they're interactive, and videos that are 2 minutes or less. Slide shares and characters. So just don't stick to words and characters all the time. That's the easiest thing you could do to engage. So on Twitter, right? How can you engage with a candidate? So let's say I could favorite one of their tweets to get their attention. Whenever you favor that, they get notified on their cell phone or the desktop, on their email. You can retweet any of their tweets, right? Don't overdo it, because then it comes across like you're trying too hard. You can maybe reply and say, great tweet, John. Thanks for sharing. So if you find an article that candidate's sharing, you can say, I love this tweet. Thanks for sharing, etc. Okay. Okay. So I hope you get that sense here of how to engage on Twitter and on LinkedIn. Once you connect with them, make sure when you connect with them, you use a personalized message. But once you connect, make sure you can like their comments. You can reshare or reply and do things of that nature, so that you get their attention and that you build that relationship on LinkedIn as well. Okay, so those are a few strategies of how to engage. I think I'm running out of time here, but then after you've done all of those things, then you go for the close or go for the commit. Okay, try to, let me go back to that slide. After you do that, I hope that you guys are asking them to commit. I invite you or to commit or ask them to go for the close. So either take a conversation offline, that should be your number one goal, or either via email or phone. And as you can see here, this whole process is reversed. And by doing this, you're going to get highly more qualified candidates, and your contact ratios are going to increase. You're going to get and develop stronger relationships. And so far, this has been working great. So let me know if you have any questions. Again, it's at Gabe VMazar. If you have any questions, or if you'd like me to send you some more a PDF of everything that I've spoken to. I know I was all over the place, but it will be condensed, a very educational PDF. Tweet at me. It's, like I said, at Gabe VMazar, and with the hashtag Talent Insights. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in and learning about social sourcing or social recruiting. Stick out for the next session, and talk to you soon. Have a good one.